What's up guys, Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Last week I had a chance to speak with Nicholson1968 and we had a discussion for Canary Cry Radio. It'll release in a few weeks. I got another episode I got to release with Patrick Wood. That'll come out in the next couple days here. Great discussions, but one of the videos that Nicholson1968 made was called Illuminati's Black Gold Project, Programmable Matter. He put it out about a year ago and he's had other videos talking about it and showing all the propaganda that surrounds this. So it was interesting when I noticed this article published on Science Daily, February 26th, 2016, in a story called Building Living, Breathing Supercomputers. The summary says the substance that provides energy to all the cells in our bodies, which is called ATP, I'll let you guys pronounce it, may also be able to power the next generation of supercomputers. The discovery opens doors to the creation of biological supercomputers that are about the size of a book. Very interesting. And if you go through it, obviously there's still a long way away. It says moving from model to reality. Although the model bio supercomputer was able to very efficiently tackle a complex classical mathematical problem by using parallel computing of the kind used by supercomputers, the researchers recognize that there is still a lot of work ahead to move from the model they have created to a full-scale functioning computer. Quote, one option for dealing with larger and more complex problems may be to combine our device with a conventional computer to form a hybrid device. Right now, we're working on a variety of ways to push the research further. And the article closes, what was once the stuff of science fiction is now just science. So there you have it. This black goo thing is very interesting. I've known about it, but I haven't really looked into it too much. And of course, as soon as I hear about it, I see an article published by Science Daily talking about living, breathing supercomputers. So this just adds to the evidence that, obviously the wealth of evidence shared by Nicholson1968 in his video and all his videos. And one of the things that was interesting about his perspective was the idea that the temple mentioned in Matthew 24, the holy place, is not an actual temple, but our physical bodies. And there is something to that that resonates with me. You know, because if you really think about it, you think about the church as the bride, and you take the analogy all the way, and it sort of makes sense that, you know, our bodies are the temple. And this idea of fleeing when you see the abomination of desolation, which, again, if it arrives in this black goo thing, you know, just exists in a laboratory somewhere, and then it goes out and starts merging with man, you know, people drink it or whatever it is that happens, flee to the mountains and don't look back. Now, there might be some problems on the surface if you start reading into the passage a little deeper, and actually, it's something that I might do in a future video where I break down each verse and get into the abomination of desolation in Matthew 24 in this perspective of the goo, but also kind of keeping balance here. It's not so much that it has to be that, it's that there's some interesting ways you can understand the passages in a whole new light. So when you look at verse 19 where it says, and alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, I find it really interesting that amongst the things that are mentioned are going to be troublesome in the end days during the abomination of desolation being released is mothers who are pregnant, those nursing infants. The argument goes, you know, that it's because they have to flee and it's hard for someone who is pregnant to, you know, travel a lot, you know, so totally understandable, totally makes sense. But also, if you look at what's happening in this age of kind of the merging of all this technology and everything, we're seeing now a lot of things in the realm of biology, in the realm of artificial insemination and the development of genetic engineering that is here. It is here now today. And when you think about where the world of vaccinations is going, I mean, I don't think it's going to be too long before vaccinations become mandatory, but the trade-off is you get all the health benefits of the newfound technological whatever, and you get enhancements, you get choices for your children or something like that. Who knows exactly how it will look, but there will be something implemented where to have that, you know, health insurance or have that hospital or everything like that, you're going to have to implement these, you know, things, these substances basically into the genetic information. And that's why it says in the book of Revelation that there will be a whole generation, and these will be the ones to take the mark and everything, whose names are not written from the foundation of the world. So just a thought, as soon as you take the mark, it's as if your name was never written because you are not redeemable at that point. You've ceased to become human. You've abandoned the image of God and you have accepted the image of the beast and you have taken the mark. You know, so this whole mark of the beast, image of the beast thing is much more intrusive to our biology, to our actual being than first thought. So that's why, as a society, we have to start to really understand what we're doing with this technology and how to respond to it. Things are going to happen. How does the church respond? What do we do to deal with this sort of thing when it gets out there? And I feel like there just needs to be a coming together of a lot of Christians to just sort of put aside stuff, the differences in certain doctrines or whatever, and just really understand the times we're in, this sort of information. But what you can do about it isn't so much to stop that actual thing, like to stop the black goo. That's not really the thing. The mission is to spread the gospel. It's exactly what we're commanded to do in the Great Commission. So in the spirit of understanding these things, go out, evangelize, save souls. So that's really the motivation here of understanding this kind of stuff. And when you can see it, when you can understand it at a deeper level, you can talk to people who maybe watch like an Iron Man or, are super into Star Wars or whatever, all these media outlets where people have literally gone to La La Land. Okay. I think a lot of people live in La La Land with all the news and the TV shows and movies and everything else. They're just being completely brainwashed into this false reality. And sometimes, hopefully, information like this kind of wakes them up a little bit and makes them reconsider like, whoa, wait a minute. What have I been doing? I've been really into Star Wars or whatever. I'm buying all their toys and, I have their posters and, I'm watching clips and okay, great. You're doing that to entertain. It's of course important to unwind sometimes, but that's the whole point. We have been so wound up that all we want to do is unwind. And to do that, we have to, just turn off our brain. And so the conditions of social engineering here are so obvious. And that's why the gospel keeps us alert, it keeps us awake, it keeps us vigilant, it keeps us in a place where we can see, where we can shine God's light onto the world and expose the dark places so that God's light can restore creation. So anyway, that's my rant for today. Thanks for checking out the video. God bless.